All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Karyn Battey, and it is Tuesday, October 17th, and this is Business Basics. It's one of two trainings that we recommend for all new consultants. This one talks about what we do behind the scenes to have a really strong and successful business. The other training that we recommend is called Cooking Show Training, and that's about everything we do at the shows from the time we walk in the door until right through to order processing. That generally happens on the first Tuesday of each month. Just looking at my calendar here. So that next one will be on Tuesday, November 7th. But this is Business Basics. So welcome. So we've got two Ashleys. So Ashley Paul, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. I couldn't before. Sorry.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you could make it. So I'm just wondering, are you guys thinking to yourself, okay, so I have no idea. What does it take to be successful as a Pampered Chef consultant?
Yeah.
Wondering that? Okay. What do you think, intuitively, what do you think it takes to be successful? Do you think it's personality?
Yeah.
It's how good a cook you are?
Definitely not that, because I'm definitely not a good cook.
Nor am I. But a lot of times that's what people think. They go to a Pampered Chef party, or they know a Pampered Chef consultant who appears to be doing well, and they think that's what they have to be like. If that person is a great cook, they think they have to be a great cook. If that person has a really big personality, they think often they have to have a big personality. If that person is a walking Pampered Chef encyclopedia, knows everything about the products, then oftentimes we think that's what we need to do too. But guess what? None of those things are true. Okay? But I am going to share with you what all successful consultants have in common. Some of them are great cooks. Some of them are walking Pampered Chef encyclopedias. Some of them do have really big personalities. Some are really quiet. None of that matters. But here's a few things that do. I'm going to bring up my little PowerPoint. First, this is the belief. Let me see if I can make that bigger here. The belief circle, okay? So what this shows us, and this is true not just with Pampered Chef, but with anything. At the top is our belief. And what we believe about a situation, for the most part, determines what actions we're going to take. And those actions, for the most part, will determine the results we get. And then those results will reinforce or change our belief. So, show of hands, how many of you believe in the Pampered Chef products? You think we have great products? Okay, good. And, you know, pretty much everybody comes to the business with that belief firmly in place. What do you think about our host rewards? Do you think they're pretty cool?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Did you know that, they say the national show average is $650. At a $650 party, we're making about 20 to 25%. So that's about $130 to $150. But that same host is saving, on average, over $200. Okay, so actually, it's kind of cool that our hosts are very often making out better than we are. I don't mind that at all. It gets more people to want to host. So we have great products to offer. We have a fantastic service to offer hosts, because they can get products for free or half off or 60% off that they might not otherwise be able to have in their kitchens. So people who are successful in this business do have the belief in the products and the host rewards program. But let me ask you something. What is your belief about your ability to succeed as a consultant? If you had to throw out a number from 1 to 10, 1 being, I have no belief in myself at all, and 10 being, yeah, I got this. What's your number at this point? Just kind of throw it out there.
7.
7? That's not bad.
6, I guess.
What's that?
6.
A 6? Okay. And you know what? That's normal. Hardly anybody comes to this business, unless they've done something like this in the past, hardly anybody comes to the business with that part firmly, with that belief firmly in place that, oh yeah, I got this. But guess what? That doesn't need to be in place when you start. Because you see this belief circle, it's a circle. It's like a merry-go-round. You are allowed to jump on anywhere in there, okay? So one thing that successful consultants have in common is they jump in on the actions. Okay, I know when I was new, I just said, I'm going to follow you blindly because I have no idea what I'm doing, and you've been at it a while, so I'm not going to question anything. I'm just going to do what you recommend. And what happened is eventually I got the results. I didn't get always all the results first time, first try, but pretty quickly, in a couple of months, I was getting the results I wanted. And then my belief was firmly in place that, oh my gosh, anybody can do this business if you stick with it long enough. Okay, so, and then it makes it easier to take the actions. So are you guys on board with, okay, I'll jump in on some actions, even though I might not fully believe that I can be successful. Are you willing to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. All right, then that's the first step in being successful. So there's a couple of quotes that I love. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Because if you look at that belief circle, if you tell yourself, oh, this is never going to work, chances are you won't really take the actions with the same kind of enthusiasm. And then the results will be, oh, that didn't work. And then you're like, see, this wasn't going to work. But if you're like, oh yeah, gosh, there's people out there who love our products. Obviously, there's these other consultants who are doing well. I'm going to stick with it. Then you get the results and you have the belief. And like I said, it's like that with anything. My son, when he started taking piano lessons, he believed he was going to be a great pianist. And so he stuck with it. Yeah, too bad he didn't tell himself he was always on time, right, Ashley?
Yeah.
But if you ever heard him at 4 and 5 play the piano, you wouldn't think, oh yeah, this kid's going places. But he stuck with it, and he practiced, and he practiced. And he made a lot of mistakes, but eventually he got really, really good. Okay? So just stay with it, and don't worry. Being a Pampered Chef consultant is way easier than learning how to play a piano. Okay. So dream big. Dream big. Set some goals based on those dreams, and then take action. All right? Now, the next thing is, here's what people often think of the success model. Somewhere in space is us. We're standing there, and we're like, okay, but this Pampered Chef thing, it's not anything that most people ever tried before. So it's almost as if, okay, we know success is out there, and we know failures out there, and we want success, but since it's not something most of us have ever thought about doing before, it's as if someone blindfolded us, spun us around, and said, go ahead, pin the tail on the donkey. And we're like, I have no idea what the donkey is. So what can happen is we sit there and we say, okay, I said I was going to take some action, so, I heard this idea, and I think that might work, so I'll try it out a little bit. I'll put my toe in the water. And you try it out, and it feels awkward, because it's not anything you've ever done before. And you don't immediately get all the results you want, so you think to yourself, okay, it's not success. Oh, must be failure. And it's retreat, because we don't want to fail, right? So we hear another idea, and we're like, okay, I said I was going to take some action, so I'll try this. We put our toe in the water, and we try it out a little bit, and it feels awkward because it's not something we've ever done before, and we don't immediately get all the results we want, and so it doesn't feel like success, so then we think, must be failure, and we retreat. And then we can feel kind of stuck, like, okay, now what do I do? But this is actually not the success model. Here is the real deal. We are in one place, success is in the other, and in between is that learning curve. Is there anything that you're successful at where there wasn't a learning curve? See? Silence, right?
No.
Anything. If it's a foreign language, if you're learning how to read, if you're learning how to ride a bike, if you're learning how to swim, if you're learning how to sing, if you're learning how to knit, if you're learning karate, whatever it is you want to learn, there's a learning curve involved. Okay? So guess what? The same is true with your Pampered Chef business. There's a learning curve. So just embrace that. And this is on-the-job training. So you're going to go to some shows and, there's going to be some mess-ups there, but don't worry about it. Just embrace the learning curve. And so another thing that successful consultants have in common is that they embrace the fact that there's a learning curve, and they don't expect perfection from themselves or perfect results from themselves right away. So do you guys feel like you can embrace the fact that there's a learning curve here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right, good. And if you really want to be successful, if you enjoy and laugh through the learning curve, that's the best part. So if you're learning how to knit and you drop a stitch, or some stitches are tighter or looser than the other, and that first scarf doesn't quite come out right, but you had fun while you're doing it, you don't care. You tear it out and you start over again. So like anything, the learning curve does not have to be boring. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be excruciating. It can be really fun in a business like this. The stories I could tell you of my first 6 months to a year in business. I should write a book. At my first Pampered Chef party, I set off a smoke alarm and dropped the pizza on the floor. Nobody got to eat.
Oof.
It was chaos. But we laughed because I used to be a nurse and I was on a surgical trauma unit. So there, if you made a mistake, someone died. Here it was like, oh my gosh, I just dropped the pizza on the floor. You got to be kidding me. And so I had a grand old time. And then when people came up to place their orders, I totally forgot about the fact that I was there to sell Pampered Chef products. I was so focused on the recipe. I didn't bring a calculator. And this is 20 years ago when there was like no internet. And, and no cell phones with calculators in them. Cell phones were just flip phones that you talked in. So, oh my gosh, I brought no change for anybody. People were swapping their own money with their neighbors to come up to pay cash at exact change. And you know what? Here I am. So have fun with it. Okay, so embrace the learning curve and know that the people that you see that are pretty solid in the business, was once a beginner. We all start with the same kit. And it really doesn't matter how knowledgeable you are or anything like that. It's just get out there and have some fun. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so you don't have to have a personality like someone you saw. You don't have to have the product knowledge of someone you saw. Be yourself and have fun. All right. Now, if you really, really want this business to go exceptionally well, if you have big, big goals for your business, there is what we call the magic number. I remember when I went to my first sales meeting, I got in line to talk to the woman who was in the front of the room. Everybody wanted to talk to her. When I got to the front, I said, so if you had to give one piece of advice about how I can make this successful, what would you say? And she said, 2 shows a week. And I said, that's it? She goes, 2 shows a week, no matter what. And I went, that sounds simple. She says, it is simple, but it's not always easy. But I just, so that is still tried and true today. The good news is that not all shows are live shows. So if you can't fit that many live shows, as long as you somewhere in there fit 8 parties in a month, this is going to, and this is, like I said, if you have a goal to ultimately, have this replace a full-time income or something like that, or you want to make, $1,000 to $1,500 a month right away, this is the way to do that. And so I asked her, why is that the magic number? Because that's what she told me. It's the magic number. I said, why? She said, I don't know. It just is. And I said, okay, I'm following this lady blindly, so 2 shows a week. But now that I've been at it for a while, I know why it's the magic number. Okay, 3 basic reasons. Number 1, it's not too overwhelming. Most people who do this business do it alongside a full-time job. Very often they also have children, or maybe they're going to school as well. But 2 shows a week is about an 8 to 10 hour work week. Okay, so most people can fit that in. If you were to find a part-time job, most part-time jobs are, 20 to 32 hours a week. So this is a lot shorter. But another reason why 2 shows a week or 8 parties a month on average, because I do all my virtual parties all in 1 week. I pick 1 week a month and I do all my virtual parties. I'll do 6 or 7 of them all in 1 week. The other reason why the 8 parties a month is the magic number is because it gives us enough practice. Okay, remember there's a learning curve. Do you guys both have driver's licenses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say a friend called you up and they don't have a driver's license and they said, hey, Ashley, I want to learn how to drive and I want to run this idea by you. I'm thinking until I get good, I just want to practice maybe once or twice a month. Would you say that's a great idea?
No.
No, because every time they got behind the wheel of the car, it would kind of be like the first time, right? Like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? And it would be forever and maybe never before they really became really comfortable with it. Now, if you guys who've been driving for a while, all of a sudden you couldn't drive for 6 weeks because you had surgery and then you hopped behind the wheel of the car, you'd do just fine, right? Because you've already got the skills in place. So even if long-term you think you only want to do a couple parties a month, if you just take the first 30 days and get in more than that so that you get enough practice, that you get through the learning curve and you master the skill, then you can back off to whatever number you want and really feel comfortable with it. But it's just a number that it gives us enough practice. Not every party is held on the originally scheduled date. So if we schedule 8 parties, whether they're live or virtual, in 1 month, probably 6 of them will hold. And that's just another thing to embrace about the business. It just is. People get sick, their kids get sick, their work schedules change. It just happens. So some people are going to, reschedule their parties for the next month. But if you're doing 6 parties on average in a month, you're still going to get enough practice, because this isn't brain surgery. You're still going to get enough practice by the end of, a month or so that you're going to feel really confident and skilled. But the other reason why 2 parties a week on average is the magic number is because of the math. It's math, not magic. Okay. Let's say you guys decide to do 8 parties in the month of November. Now, the national show average is $650. However, we're going to go with a $500 show average because you guys are brand new. And let's say you do 8 parties. That is $4,000 in sales. Okay? At the $4,000 level, you make a 25% commission, which is $1,000 a month. Okay? So I want to hear a sentence or 2 from each of you about what you would do with $1,000 in Pampered Chef income in the month of November. What would you do?
Save it. I'm trying to buy a house.
Saving for a house. Okay. And how long would it take you to save up the money you needed if you were saving $1,000 a month?
Not long to have a good, comfy enough bank account for the mortgage.
Right. It wouldn't take long at all. If you didn't have that Pampered Chef income, how long would it take you to save up for a house?
It's taking a lot longer.
Yeah. So, and you know what? I want you to think about that. I want you to have that in your mind, because when you go out to line up those initial parties, some people are going to say yes, but more people are going to say no. 1 out of 6 to 8 people that we talk to on average is going to say yes to a party in the time frame we'd like. So you want to be not taking that personally. Just pretend you're a waitress saying, would you like ketchup with your fries? And it doesn't matter whether they say yes to ketchup or no to ketchup. It's not a personal thing. It's just it's nothing personal against you. It's just a preference of whether they want ketchup or not. But keep that in mind, because you're going to hear some no thank yous. And you want to just keep going right through till you get those parties in place. So you want to keep in mind, okay, once I get through and get those initial parties in place, then I'm going to have the shows that I need so that my business keeps on going. We call it a self-sustaining calendar. When you look at a 30-day period and you just say, okay, I'm going to concentrate on filling that 30-day period, all you have to do is average just 1 booking per party to keep it going, right? 1 booking in the very next month. And we average usually more than that. So keeping a full calendar full is not very hard at all. So getting those initial parties in place, those when we hear some no thank yous. So you want to just say to yourself, you know what? In pretty short order, if I just stay with this, I'm going to have enough money for the down payment on my house. So For the other Ashley, what would you do if you made $1,000 in November?
I don't know what I'd do, but I know my husband's answer is to buy a motorcycle.
A motorcycle. Oh, maybe you could buy it for him for Christmas.
No.
Would you let him have that full $1,000 for that?
No.
Ah, okay. I hope you treat yourself a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, that's the idea.
It'd be pretty cool, huh? $1,000. Think about it. So, but Ashley, what would you do for yourself?
I don't know. I don't really have any.
Well, you know what? One of your assignments is going to be really think about it, because like I said, you know, there's going to be some things that go well and some things that you might have to work a little bit harder at. So you want to really know what's on the other side of my hard work.
Yeah.
And really just, you know, embrace that. Okay, so if you start doing 2 parties a week, you know, you can expect to make about $1,000 in your first month of business. But let's talk about, you know, what happens beyond the immediate income that you make at the parties. Pampered Chef did extensive research, and they came up with what's called the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 principle. And here's what it means. So we're out doing 8 parties a month, and you see an average of 10 people per show. Some people are going to have some shows will have 4 or 5 people at them. Some shows will have 15 to 20 people, and everybody else somewhere in between. Well, let's say you have an average of 10 people per party. That's 80 people in a month that you're going to see. Now, when you're lining up parties, on average, 1 out of every 6 to 8 people that we talk to is going to say yes to having a show of their own. When we're initially lining up those parties and we're just texting or talking to our family and friends, that can take a long time to talk to all those people individually. But once you've got those parties in place, if you've got the parties in place, you don't have to then call people for bookings, because remember, you're going to see 80 people. 1 out of every 6 to 8 of them is going to probably say yes to a party. That's 10 to 12 people. That's enough, right, to keep your business going? So that's about how many people are likely to book that next month. So even if not all the parties hold, you know, you've got margin forever. If you're thinking, I don't have space for 10 to 12 people, well, then you put some of them in the next month. Now, beyond that, this principle tells us that of the people we see, if we do our job right and we let people know a little bit about the business, and then we offer information to people, about 1/3 of them will say, okay, I'll take some information home. I'll think about this. That's about 25 people. Of those people, 1/3 of them will actually talk to us again and say, yeah, let's talk some more. I want some more detail about this.
Sorry.
And that's about 8 people per month. And of those people that we talk to a little bit more, about 1/3 of them will say, yeah, I'm going to give this a try. That's about 2 people. How would you guys feel if every month you had 2 people joining you in the business? And you scheduled 10 to 12 more parties besides making $1,000. How would you feel?
Keeps 1,000 coming. That'd be good.
Yeah, I think you'd be pretty excited, right? Okay. So what I want you to think about is, in order to get 10 to 12 parties and 2 team members, that means you're hearing about 68 to 70 times, no thanks, I don't think I want to have a party. And you're hearing about 78 times, no thanks, I don't think I want to hear about the business. Okay? Something that successful consultants have in common is that they let that run right off of them. Like duck off a water, what do they say? Water off a duck's back. But a lot of us didn't have that in place when we got here. I know in the beginning when I heard no, I cringed a little, okay? But I learned to just be matter of fact about it. Again, they're not saying, no, Karyn, I don't like you. They're saying, no, a party right now just isn't for me, but thanks anyway. Or, no, I'm not really interested in the business, thanks anyway. And then you just say, okay, because it is not our job to twist people's arms and convince them. We let people know what's in it for them if they have a party of their own. We let people know what's in it for them if they want to give this business a try. And of course, we're going to have conversations about it to answer questions that people have and address any concerns that they might have, but we're not twisting arms. But if we do our job right, we're going to get everything we need from the parties that are in place. All right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to stop the screen share for a minute so I can see your guys' beautiful faces here. Any questions or comments? Hi there. Hi. Oh my goodness, she's got blonde hair like my son had. I used to have to put sunscreen on his head because he was so blonde he would get burnt right through the hair.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments so far?
Not really.
Okay. All right. How about the other Ashley? Any questions?
Nope, I'm all set right now.
No? Okay. All right. Then we'll go back to the screen share that I got going here. Hopefully it's going to stay right in order. Here we are. There we go. Why isn't that opening? Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about where your business could be in 90 days. All right. Let's say you do the 2 parties a week on average, and you're like, hey, that's no big deal. I'm doing some virtual parties, so I don't have to leave my house. And I go out and I do a party a week, or I do a couple parties a week. But you're averaging 8 a month. And that whole 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 principle is coming to fruition for you. Let's talk about where you could be in 90 days, right after the holidays. Okay, so January rolls around. You're still out doing somehow 8 parties a month, still with $500 show average, making about $1,000 a month in commission from that. But now you're adding 2 team members a month to your business. Right from the first team member that you add, you're going to be earning overrides. But at this point, when you've got 6 people on your team, here's what those overrides would look like. So you have 6 people on your team, and they're selling an average of $1,000 a month because the math is easy. And you're selling $4,000 a month. So your team sales are $10,000. Okay. Now, by the way, if you're not a math person, just let this all run over you and just look at the bottom number. Okay. So you're going to make a 3% override, which is about $300. Pampered Chef also gives you an activity bonus. That's $10 for every active person on your team once you hit director, which is 5 people. Okay, so that's $60. So now, instead of making $1,000 a month for doing 2 parties a week, now you're making $1,360. That's like a 30% raise in 90 days. Have you ever had a 30% raise in 90 days before?
No.
No, me neither, except with Pampered Chef. And in less than a year, I gave myself a 100% raise, okay? But a 30% raise in 90 days. Plus, you will have earned the fast track bonus, and I'll tell you a little bit about fast track in a minute. But so you're looking at $1,360 a month. So, wow, you know, you can buy your husband that motorcycle because now you're going to be making this kind of money, right? Or now you can save for that house and, you know, either save more quickly or save for a bigger house, or maybe save for the house and, you know, have some fun in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
But let's dream a little bit bigger. Let's look at where you could be in about 6 months' time. April of 2018. Not somebody else's life, but your life. Okay? Now I'm giving you a $640 show average because that is the national show average, but you're still just doing 2 shows a week on average. Now your sales are $5,120. And notice that I'm now calculating a 27% commission rate, because once you hit 15,000 in your career sales, they just keep adding up your career sales from the time you start. When you hit 15,000, you get a raise. As long as you don't have 2 months in a row without sales, then your sales reset to 0 and you have to start building up to 15,000 again. But you're allowed to take 1 month off without sales, but not 2 in a row. But so it's when you hit 15,000, you get a raise. So now you're making 27%. So now on your personal sales, you're making $1,382. But remember, that 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 principle is still happening. And now you've got 10 people on your team. And you might go, wait, Karyn, you told me 2 a month, and now I'm like in business like 6 months. Why don't I have more team members than 10? Well, guess what? Not everybody who tries this business stays with it. Because we tell people all the time, you can just try it out. You're not, signing your life away. You're just deciding to try out a few shows to see if you like it. And if you don't like it, you can stop. And you know what? Sometimes people stop. So let's say you have 10 people on your team at this point. Your activity bonus is now $100 because you get $10 for every active person. That's like the income of a show without having to do it. But one person on your team comes to this training. And guess what? You never have to lead a training like this if you don't want, because I do it for the entire organization. Okay? So people that you sign on, you just say, oh, Karyn's doing training. Plug into that or watch the recording. Okay? So it's not like you have to train and support these people. We've already got kind of a big network in place for training and support. So one person on your team comes to this training and says, that's what I need and want from Pampered Chef. And they start doing 2 parties a week. So they're selling 4,000. And they're adding a couple people to their team. So if you add all of that up, it's about $24,000 in your organizational sales. You're selling a little over 5. One person on your team is doing the 2 shows a week and selling about 4. Everybody else is somewhere in between, averaging about $1,000 a month. And now you make a 4% override, which is $960. Now, that's overrides. You guys thought it was pretty good to make $1,000 a month in November. Imagine if you take your overrides and your activity bonus and you're making over $1,000 a month on that without having to leave your home, without having to do more parties. This makes your total income from your little old Pampered Chef business of 2 parties a week. Now your income's $2,442 a month, and you've given yourself 135% raise. What are you guys doing now with your $2,400 a month?
You already know what I'm doing.
Still saving? Still saving?
Yeah.
Okay. How quickly now are you going to be able to have a good sized down payment? Because remember, you've been saving $1,000 or more a month. Now you're 6 months in business and you're making over $2,000.
Well, I was pre-approved, so everything's covered, but I can make the budget bigger that I was pre-approved for. So
there you go. Okay. Or maybe upgrade. You sit there and say, once I move in, I'm going to get brand new appliances. Or
build a garage, yeah.
Build a garage, something like that. Awesome. Would that be worth hearing a few no thank yous along the way?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Ashley?
I have a bunch of stuff that I need to fix up on my house. So that's
what would be the first thing you'd love to fix?
Finish the vinyl siding on the house itself. Because right now the garage is being redone, but it's only like half redone.
Okay. It'd be nice to get that done, huh?
Yeah, and I need the house to match the garage, obviously.
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
And is that worth hearing a few no thank yous to achieve?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So just remember that, because the no thank yous don't hurt. Sometimes it feels like they do, but if we just let go of it, it doesn't hurt. And then we get yeses, and those definitely don't hurt. Those feel great. And those are what help us get to these numbers. Okay, so I talked a little bit about Fast Track, and this wasn't around when I was new, but it is now, and we've had a few people on our team achieve this. What it is if you sit there and say, I want to do 2 parties a week, that's pretty much the pace I'd love to do, or I'd love to do 8 parties a month, whether the live, virtual, some combination of that. It is going to put you in front of enough people to actually recruit those 2 people a month. And all you need are, if you have a team of 5, you become a director. Pampered Chef calls it a director, but don't let the title fool you. It's just basically building a team of a handful of people, 5 people. When you promote to a director in your first 90 days, they give you a $500 cash bonus. And then if you just don't quit for the next 3 months and you maintain directorship, they give you 500 more. And if someone on your team says, hey, I want to do that too, and they promote to a director, that makes you an advanced director and they give you a $1,000 cash bonus. And have you guys heard about those Pampered Chef dollars?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? Those Pampered Chef dollars, have you heard anything about them?
Mm-hmm.
In addition to commission, you earn Pampered Chef dollars in your first 90 days of business. You earn them in 2 ways. Every $12.50 in sales that you submit in your first 90 days, that's about every 2 to 3 parties, they're going to give you, in addition to your commission, 100 Pampered Chef dollars. And for every friend or new consultant that you sponsor in the business in your first 90 days, they're going to give you 100 Pampered Chef dollars. So if you earn this fast track, not only are you getting these cash bonuses, but you're earning those Pampered Chef dollars on top of it, at least $500 worth of Pampered Chef dollars, which turns into usually about $750 worth of products because we don't pay full price for anything. So if you're looking for a knife block set, if you're looking for cookware, yeah, you can do that. Plus you get it for, that's just on the ones that you could earn for recruiting. You earn them for sales as well. And when we're going through these numbers, do you have any friends that just like you're thinking, oh my gosh, they could use this money or this would be a good fit for them? All you have to do is say, you know, hey, I don't know, is this something you want to learn about? I think it could be a good fit for you. You don't have to answer all their questions. That's what we're here to do. We have a Think About It group, Facebook group. You can add them to that. They can lurk in there. They can check things out. And if they're curious, they can say, yeah, let's talk some more about this. Okay. All right. So how do we make that 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 thing work for us? That's what we're going to cover now. All right. There are basically 6 skills, only 4 of which you need to know when you're new or need to work on when you're new. Number 1 is prospecting. And for our needs, we're counting prospecting as the way we get those initial parties in place, getting those foundational parties. You're looking at that first approximately 30 days. How do we get that filled? And filled is up to you, however many you want to do. And I always recommend adding 1 to 2 parties onto that number that you want to do to accommodate for any postponements that you might have. Okay? And we're going to talk a little bit about prospecting tonight. After you get the parties in place, then you're going to be working with your hosts so that you have an average of 10 people at every party. Okay? So we give our hosts tips and ideas to help them have a successful party. And that's called host coaching. And we're going to be talking about that tonight. Now, informing and generating interest, that's another skill. The informing is what we do at our shows to let people know what's in it for them if they have a party of their own, or what's in it for them if they decide they want to learn more about the business. We inform them, okay? You'll learn how to do that at the cooking show training night, which is the first Tuesday of the month. The next skill is inviting. During the party, we kind of let people know what's in it for them if they have a show of their own. We let people know a little bit about what's in it for them if they consider this business. But at the full service checkout, when they're placing the order, that's when we invite people personally. How about you? Would you like to consider having some friends over and getting some free products? Or was there anything you heard tonight that got you curious? Is this something you'd like to learn more about the business opportunity? Okay, so that's personally inviting, and we cover that again at the cooking show training night on the first Tuesday of the month. Once you have people who are interested in the business, we do an interview, but it's really not an interview because guess what? If they want the job, they have it. It's just really talking to them. And that is not something you have to worry about in the beginning. You just go to your director and say, okay, so I have someone who's curious. Can we schedule a time to chat with them? And we chat with them and we kind of explain in more detail how the business works and we answer any questions that they have. And then they decide whether it's something they want to kind of do or try out. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that because that's something you're going to be doing with your trainer as you have leads. And then the strong start is working with those consultants to help them get parties in place, to help them get off to a strong start. And again, not something you have to worry about at all. So it's just really the first four: prospecting, host coaching, which we're going to cover tonight, informing and inviting, which we cover at the cooking show training night. Okay. Any questions at this point?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So prospecting. All right. I always say we get bookings from two places: from people we know and from people we don't know. Okay. Most people, we start with the people we know. All right. And have you guys found the launch list that's on Pampered Chef University?
Yes.
Yeah, good. And you should also receive an email, and I think it has the launch list like right in there now. That's new. You guys are lucky. That started like a week ago. Okay. So the launch list, you can print that out or you can type it right into there, and it gives you headings, and you just list people who come to mind under each of those headings. It'll say friends, families, coworkers, people you know from childhood, people you know through your children, whether, you know, through the daycare or through whatever activities they're in, whatever. You just let it flow freely. Don't prejudge. We're not going to sit here and hold a gun to your head and say, call everyone on that list and see if they want to have a party. That's up to you to decide who you're going to call and when, because it's your business. You're the CEO. But the longer the list, the better. And somebody on that list who doesn't want to have a party might refer you to someone who does. Or someone on that list that you don't even call because you're just too chicken to call them. All of a sudden you put their name down, and all of a sudden that makes you think of 3 more people, one of whom you decide to call and does want to have a party. So just let that list evolve, okay? And but the other way that you can do it, some people do what's called a Frank's list. And the F stands for friends. It's all listed here in the parentheses, you'll see. So you've got friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors. K is for kids or people you know through your kids. And S stands for spouse. Okay, so if you list like 5 people in each category, 5 of your friends, 5 relatives, 5 acquaintances, 5 neighbors, 5 people you know through your children or knew when you were a kid, 5 people you know through your spouse or significant other, all of a sudden there's a list of, you know, probably good 35 names in just a few minutes. Okay, so what you're going to do is embrace the fact that only 1 out of every 6 to 8 people is going to say yes. If more than that say yes, woohoo, celebrate, aren't you lucky? Okay, but so you just want to embrace that. If you want to line up 4 parties, how many people do you think you're going to need to talk to? Remember, 1 out of 6 to 8 is going to say yes. So if you want to have 4 parties, it's about 32 people. Doesn't mean you have to talk to them all one day. Doesn't have to mean you have to talk to them all in person. You can chat with some of them at work. If they're coworkers, you can chat with some of them over the phone. If they're like your mom's age, you can text some of them. Okay? But once the parties are in place, then the bookings are going to come from those shows. So again, pick that 30-day period and just dial. And remember, on an average party, you're going to make $125 to $150. Your friends who help you out by having some friends over are going to save $150 to $200 or more. During the holiday season, you guys are starting at a fabulous time. People want and need to host this time of year. They need things for Thanksgiving. They need to bake pies before Thanksgiving. They need to bake cookies for Christmas. They need Christmas and Hanukkah gifts. They're entertaining. They need Pampered Chef. We have 150 products that are $10 or less. They need teacher gifts. They need bus driver gifts. They need stocking stuffers. Okay, and every single person on this planet eats. If they love to cook, they love our products. If they hate to cook, they love our products because we can get them in and out of the kitchen in half the time. People love Pampered Chef, okay? So Think about who you can give this gift of free product to, okay? And if they say no, it's okay, all right? There's other ways that those people can help you. They can come to your kickoff party with a friend or two. They can take a catalog around and just pass it around for a couple of days at their workplace to see if anybody they know needs anything. If they have enough to make it a party, then they can be a host. And if not, they can just hand you the orders and you tack it on to your launch party or another party that you've got going on. But if you really reach out to each one of them, offering them the opportunity to have this great shopping spree, don't you think there's a few of them are going to say yes to that? Absolutely. Okay. Another way to get your business going, besides just calling people up, is have a kickoff party of your own. We suggest doing 2 of them, one live and one virtual. Do the live one first. If you do the virtual one first, then your local friends hop online and order a couple things. They're never going to come to your live party. So do the live one first and invite everyone you know who eats, who's local. Okay? And ask them to bring a friend or 2 along. Okay, so you can even offer a drawing if you want. Say, you know what, just for coming, your name's going to get into a drawing for really cool products. And you know, I'm not doing it this at all my parties. I'm just doing this at my launch party because it's a celebration of, you know, the start of my business. So I'm going to be raffling off a really cool Pampered Chef product. You get a ticket just for coming to the party, but you get 5 tickets for every friend you bring. And so now people that you know are bringing people that you don't know. And believe me, when they think, oh, gee, who could I invite? They're hand-picking people. They're thinking, who do I know that loves Pampered Chef? Who do I know that loves to cook? And they're hand-picking people who are much more likely than the general population to need and want Pampered Chef products. So they're bringing you these wonderful customers and helping you grow your business that way. You can also, remember I said you get bookings from 2 places, people you know and people you don't know. You can also branch out. When you get your kit, you get these survey slips. They're, you know, about this big, and they're like sticky notes. And they have a place for name and address, and it has a few questions on there. Would you like information about the business? Would you like information about getting free products by hosting a party? You know, and it's got a few questions on there. So you can go around to acquaintances. You can go to your hairdresser and say, hey, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a new Pampered Chef consultant. To celebrate the launch of my business, I'm doing a little raffle. I'm going to be raffling off a little something. By the way, when you do these 2 new consultant trainings, this one, the Business Basics, and the Cooking Show Training Night, after you complete them and you email me with your address, I'm going to send you a package of little prizes that you can use as giveaways. But at your kickoff party, where you are both the consultant earning the commission and the host getting all the free product, you can use just a little bit of your host rewards to pay for a raffle that you're doing live. But you can take these survey slips around, and you don't have to give away anything big. A season's best recipe booklet. It doesn't have to be anything huge. But you go to your hairdresser. Everybody at the salon can fill one out, even if you've never met them before. Walk into your bank. Have every teller fill one out, or give them the opportunity to fill them out. At your gym or yoga studio, at your workplace, at the coffee shop you frequent. So these are people that you see but might not know super well. If you have kids and you're on the soccer field, there. So think about where you go in your life. If you have to go to the eye doctor, the people at your eye doctor, at your dentist's office, at your pediatrician's office, or whatever. One of the first bookings I got was the nurse from my pediatrician's office. Who knew? One of the bookings I got was from a teller at the bank who helped me open my Pampered Chef account. Who knew? I was just out there. I was desperate, I'll tell you right now. I had to make this work. So I talked to everybody. I just threw it out there. And I got some bookings in the most surprising places. Okay? So you can do things like that. And then you can really branch out to people you don't know yet, like getting a table at a fair or a booth. This time of year, look for those little fairs that they might have at schools or churches in your area. You know, with the holidays coming up, they'll have Christmas fairs and stuff like that. And you can get yourself a table And our team, we are awesome. We have a display that you can sign out and borrow. So you can have a tablecloth, a banner that says Pampered Chef, and anything that you need for displays. If you don't have a folding table, you can even borrow that. So we have everything you need to set up, okay? So that's something you can do. But I just plant those kind of seeds. You don't have to work on that kind of stuff right away, but I just plant those seeds that there are other options besides the people you know in order to get more bookings. But start with the people you know. Be in really close contact with your director. Most of the time when we're working with people to get those initial parties in place, we're usually talking every 2 to 3 days. Not for a long, long time, but 5 minutes here and there. It can be by phone or it can be Facebook Messenger or text, but if I'm your director, don't text me, I'll never see it. But, you know, just keep us updated, what you're hearing and things like that, and we can help you with hesitations people might have to help you get those parties secured, okay? But be like a pit bull for that first couple of weeks when you're getting those initial parties in place, and be really in close contact with your director, because that's what we're here for, to help you get those foundational parties in place, because once those are there, the rest is usually pretty easy, okay? I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this, but there is a tracker. They've actually just done a new one. You will get an email about that as well. They're sending you all these little emails in the beginning. And the tracker is something that you just kind of write your stats on. So as you book the parties, you write them in the first column here, you know, the date it's booked and the host name. And so that's the date that the party's booked. And then you write how many shows hold. And so notice the first column has 8 and the second column has 6. All 8 might hold, but that would be very unique. Usually if you book 8, 6 of them will hold. And then you're going to write down the attendance. Okay, if it's a live party, you write down how many people came. If it's a virtual party, you write down two numbers. How many people clicked that they were going and how many people ordered. Okay, because you want to keep track of your numbers. The next column, how many people took home information. That's information about the business. How many bookings is the final column. You write how many bookings are in the calendar from that show. Appointment for interview, if they're interested in the business, how many people scheduled the time to talk, and then how many people signed up. So you're going to keep track of your numbers so that you can figure out what is falling very nicely and neatly in place and what isn't. Every single person who's done this business have had certain columns that just, they knock it out of the park, and every single consultant has had columns that just have big fat zeros in them, and they're like, uh-oh, what am I doing wrong here? It's different for every person because we all come with a different experience. Some parts of this business are going to come very naturally to you, and some of this parts of this business aren't. And it's okay. You're in training. You're not expected to know everything. It's unrealistic to think it's all just going to fall into place. Don't throw your hands up and say, oh, it wasn't meant to be. Just know that each of these columns corresponds to one of those, what was the word? Skills that we talked about. Remember those 4 skills? The prospecting, host coaching, informing and inviting. Each of these lines up with one of those skills. And so when you start tracking your numbers and you're working with your director, we can celebrate what's going well, and then we can say, oh, this column needs some help. Okay, you know what, that is this skill. So let's talk about that skill. Let's talk about, you know, strengthening that muscle and getting your business to where you want it to be. We're not your bosses. We're not here to evaluate you. Every single one of us was brand new. Every single one of us had our struggles in this business, and we pretty much overcome them. And it is our absolute, it's not just our job. Pampered Chef doesn't just pay us to do it. For me, it's my joy to help you achieve your goals. This business changed my life. And I'd love to help you change yours. Whether you've got big, huge goals or whether they're just modest goals, whatever your goals are, I want to help you make them a reality. Nothing would make me happier, okay? All right, so any questions about prospecting? Just kind of who to start with, reaching out to them, and talking with your director about getting the dates solid. Okay, all right. So the last thing we're going to be talking about tonight is host coaching. Host coaching is really important. After you line up your parties, it is the single most important thing. We say that host coaching is like doing your homework. Host coaching is where we earn our money, and the show is where we pick up the paycheck. Okay? All right. So, how many of you, when you lined up a show, what did you do? After you lined up a show, what was one of the first things you did? Besides call your director and say, yeah, I lined up a party, woohoo!
Figure
It's a
out
really basic question. Did you put it in your calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? You scheduled a party, you wrote it in there. Because if you're like me, you don't write it down, you won't go. You're not going to remember all that, right? So one thing that's really important to do with your host coaching is schedule it, okay? Put it in your calendar. That calendar can be like mine, which I doubt it is because you guys are young, but look at mine. I'm a big paper calendar person. Or maybe you'd rather put it in your phone. That's fine. I don't care where you put it, but whatever calendar you use, you want to mark it in there. And I'll get into a little more detail about that, but apparently I'm on a different slide. I'm just looking now going, it says, wait a minute, let's start with the end in mind. Okay, so when you're thinking of your parties, when you think of the perfect party, what do you think about? I want you guys to take out a pen and paper, and I want you to think about what is your vision for a perfect party. How many people are there? How many outside orders does the host have? Just jot down at least 3 or 4 things, more if you can think about it. What does a perfect party look like for you? What are the sales? Who's in the room? How many bookings do you walk away with? Okay. Oops, now you're seeing my list. I didn't mean to show you this right away. Whoops, let me go back so you can't cheat. You guys each have a few things written down?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to tell me a few of the things that they've got in the list? Dark-haired Ashley or blonder Ashley?
I wrote down fun.
Fun, absolutely. That's really important. That was absolutely on my list for sure. Anything else?
I don't know, like 10 to 20 people. I couldn't really write down much. I was wrestling my daughter for the pen.
Understood. How about the other Ashley? What have you got on there?
I put 10 to 12 people.
Yeah.
Station set up, so it's nice and easy.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's station set up.
Oh, station set up. Yep.
And it's easy. They can just do it their own thing.
Yep.
But
Easy,
together.
fun. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And laughter for the fun.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So when I was new, here's the list I came up with. And I didn't come up with this list all at once. I went to the training and I went home and I really just kind of wrote down, what do I want for my hosts, ideally? So I would like the show to happen on the originally scheduled date. I would love for the host to have 8 to 10 outside orders before the party even begins. I would love it if the host gave me the names of 1 or 2 people before the party and said, here's some people who can't come, but they want to have shows of their own. I'd love about 15 people at the parties. I'd love for 2 to 3 people to bring a friend. I like when the show starts on time. I like when the host has the correct ingredients. I like when the host pulls out some of her Pampered Chef products and has them out on display. I like to close the show pretty quickly, within a day or 2 of it happening. I like when the host considers the business. I like when the past host is there that she booked from. And I love having wine or margaritas, but not too much alcohol, like a fine line. Fun, fun, fun. Absolutely. Okay. So that's like ideally what we're shooting for. Okay. In my world, you don't have to have this be your world, but think about it, because if you want these things to happen, they don't just happen by accident. They happen by intentionally working with the hosts to make these things happen. Okay? And that's what we're going to be really focusing on with the host coaching. How to take this list, or whatever list you come up with, and how to work with our host to make this vision a reality. Doesn't mean every party is going to have this. Every party is different. But we want to coach toward this end, taking into consideration what our host wants. Okay? When I'm working with my hosts, I want my hosts to be like women on a mission. I want them to be excited. I want them to think, oh my gosh, yeah, I want to do this thing. I want to get that rock for free, all right? So my mantra, and I encourage it to be your mantra when you're working with your hosts, is to inspire and then inform. Because I remember hearing years and years and years ago, in order for anybody to take action on something, on anything, they have to have two things in place. They have to have the will, and they have to have the skill. They have to want to do something, and they have to know how to do that thing. Okay? So we don't want our hosts just to be excited about having a party. It's great, but do they know how to have a great party? And we don't want to just tell them how to have a great party and have it come across as like this homework assignment with no excitement at all, because then they're going to be like, ugh, that sounds like work. I don't want to do that. Ooh. You know, so we want to blend. We want first our hosts to be super excited, and then inform them about how to do it so that they feel really empowered. Like, whoa, I got this thing. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. The home office gives us this host coaching checklist, and I do suggest printing it off and putting it in a page protector so you have it every time you're talking to a host. But if all we do is sort of go through this checklist, well, that's informing. And then that can come across as a homework assignment. And all of a sudden they're like, gosh, I thought this was going to be a really fun party, because you both said fun, and I want fun as well for my hosts. So all of a sudden it can be like, oh, this doesn't sound like fun, because we're going through this checklist of things they should do. So I love this sheet, and it's a great checklist. But what I suggest is take a listen tonight, and then either mark the sheet up or type up some bullets to have in another page protector that give you some details, so that when you're working with your hosts over the phone, you know, you've got some of these ideas to share with them. Have either of you ever hosted a Pampered Chef party before you signed on?
Nope.
Yes.
Nope? Yes. Okay, so dark-haired Ashley, that was you, right?
Yeah.
If you had just had to, how many people were at your party?
It was a virtual one. There were 13.
Oh, okay. All right. And how many people did you invite?
60.
60, right? So you see, you got to invite a lot of people, right? Yeah. So that is something that you're going to be informing your virtual hosts about, as well as your live hosts. So, you know, there are certain things that, now, did your consultant give you any tips?
Yes, she sent me
on inviting and what to do to get people engaged?
Yep.
What were some of the best tips you heard, if you had to pull one or two ideas that your consultant?
She had said to like invite anyone, even people I didn't think would actually be involved. The ones who I didn't think were the ones who actually did interact the most. That was really,
right.
I was like, what?
Yeah, don't prejudge, right? Invite them all.
Yeah.
Yep. What was another great tip she gave you?
She sent me the full list, and so actually communicating and interacting helped other people interact.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So definitely those are some ideas you're going to want to put on your list to share with your hosts. Okay. So when we talk about that first contact, so we've just scheduled the party, and whether it's a live party or virtual party, all of my hosts get a host packet with a couple of catalogs, the host special, the guest special, and an outside order form. We find those on Consultant's Corner. When you go in there, you'll see on the left-hand side, you'll see a thing that says Marketing Imagery. And if you click on that, then you'll see a category that says Host Specials, one that says Guest Specials, and then when you click on the Host Special, it'll have the different months, right? So you go into Host Special and you click off, you know, whatever the host, if it's an October date, print off an October one. You go in for the guest special, print off the October one, tuck it in there with a couple outside order forms that are found in the same area as the guest special. And you put those in a packet and you give it to the host. So live hosts and virtual party hosts, I give them all a host packet, okay? And at most of my parties, I do a lot of live parties. And so I bring my host packets to my party and I hand the packets to people. And I briefly walk them through it that night, like briefly, like a minute or so, just a quick walkthrough. And then I say to them, but I'd really love to talk to you in the next couple of days. And I schedule a time to talk with them, okay? And I put it in my calendar, okay? And I'll say to them, you know, I'll schedule a time. I say, I want to share some tips on how to, you know, make sure your party's super successful and fun. And we'll need maybe 10 to 15 minutes on the phone for that call. And I schedule it. And we schedule it. And then I'll say to them, okay, so when you go home, what I want you to be working on between now and the time we talk is two things. First, I'm going to want to know the top 3 things you want to get from this party. And then if you flip over the host packets that we get from the home office, there's a list on the back for their guest list. And I said, just start jotting down names of people to invite. Everybody you eat, basically. And then I say, okay, and then we'll talk on that night. All right. And when we're talking, and I'm going to give you an example first of a live show, and then we'll talk about virtual parties after. Okay. Because there's a little difference in the host coaching. Okay. So when I am talking with that live cooking show host, and Ashley with the dark hair, are you planning on doing live shows as well as virtual parties?
Yeah, I have a live one set for Saturday.
Okay, great. Okay. So when I am working with the host of a live party. I'm going to turn this off because I'll turn it back on after. The first thing, oh, hi, Sherry, you made it. Yay, welcome. Didn't even know you were here. So when I'm working with that host of the live party, when we have that first conversation, the 2 main things I want to cover, well, 3 actually. What does the host want? And then the invitation list, like who are they going to invite? And then and I want to warn them about what's going to happen when they start inviting so that they don't freak out and cancel their party. Those are my 3 goals for that first contact. And by the way, that first contact for me is always over the phone. Okay. The other contacts can be through Facebook Messenger and all of that. But that first contact, it's just way too unwielding to do that via text or Facebook message. So Ashley, can you be my pretend host, Ashley with the dark hair?
Sure.
Okay. So Ashley, we met at a party and you scheduled a party of your own and it's happening at the end of October. I gave you a host packet. You took it home and you did what I said. You wrote down the top 3 things you wanted to get from your party and you started your wish list. Okay. So now I'm talking with you. Now I want you guys to be listening for the first getting her excited. So the excite and what are the words I said? I forgot them already. And first, get the will and the skill. What were the 2 words I used? We all flunk. Anyway.
We promise.
First, I want to get her excited about what she can get from her party. Then I want to inform her about how to do it. And by the time we're done, hopefully, Ashley's going to be like a woman on a mission. Ashley, have you had a live kickoff party yet?
No.
No. Okay. Do you have one scheduled?
Yeah, Saturday.
It's this Saturday. Okay. So hopefully this might even help you with a little bit on that.
Yes.
Okay. So, but let's say your party's a couple of weeks out. So ring, ring, ring. Hey, Ashley, it's Karyn with Pampered Chef. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great. I think you said that 8:10 was the perfect time to talk. Is now still a good time for you?
Yeah, that works.
Awesome. Hey, do you have that host packet that I gave you at the party?
I do right here.
Awesome. Okay, great. So I'm going to just kind of walk you through that. But the first thing I want to know is, what are you hoping to get from this party? Because you know what? I think you can tell I have a lot of fun at my shows, but the thing that brings me great joy is helping my hosts get what they want from their party for free or half price at the most. So what are your top 3 picks that you don't want your kitchen to be without by the time we're done?
Wow. Or most hosts like, I don't know.
Do you want a rock crock?
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the rock crock with the stand, baby.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
A nice knife set.
Ah, knife block set. Nice pick. All right. Anything else? You looking for cookware, or did you like that spiralizer? What was your favorite gadget?
I'm not sure on that third one.
Not sure yet? Not sure
Nope.
yet?
Still working on
All
that.
right. What kind of, how many are you cooking for? What kind of cooking do you do? Are you a baker or a cook more?
Usually a baker more.
A baker. Okay. All right. Then can I just make a suggestion? Our new little mini bundt cake pans are amazing. They got a retro look, but they have brand new technology. You don't have to grease or flour these things or anything. And one cake mix will fill 2 of them. So as a default thing, you don't have to get it. But as a default thing, do you want to just kind of throw that on your list?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sure. All right. So now, since you're having a party in October, guess what? You get any one item or set out of the entire catalog at 60% off. So do you want to knock your knife block set off at the 60% off mark?
Yeah.
That whole thing? Okay. So then we're looking at maybe getting this raw crock and the slow cooker stand and these cake pans for free. How'd you like that?
Yes,
Does
please.
that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So just so you know, that's about $1,000 party because the raw crock with the stand and the cake pans, it's about $200 or so in product. So at $1,000 party, you're going to get those absolutely free. And then, like I said, with your host bonus, you can get the raw crock and the stand. Guess what? You're going to have lots of other half-price items if you want them for yourself or for Christmas shopping. But how about, would you like to aim for that for your party?
Yeah.
These things for free? Excellent. Okay. So now I don't want to freak you out or anything, Ashley, but in order to have $1,000 party, that usually means having about 15 to 20 orders. Okay, it doesn't mean 15 to 20 people have to be at your house. Okay, you can have 10 to 12 people at your house, plus some people who place outside orders. Okay, but in order to have 15 to 20 orders, it usually requires inviting 2 to 3 times that many people. Okay, so we're looking at like 40 to 50 people on average to invite. So I got to ask you, Ashley, how do you feel about that? What does that make you feel like when I say getting the word out to 40 to 50 people?
A lot of people.
That's a lot of people. It kind of is. Do you feel like 40 to 50 people that you could get the word out to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm just going to tell you right now, most of my hosts don't say that. So good for you that you've got that many people. So now I'm going to ask you to pretend, because I know you had a kickoff party. You had a virtual party, invited like 60 people. So pretend you're an average host. And I want you to tell me, oh my gosh, 40 to 50 people? I don't think I know that many.
That's
all right.
Or do we really have to do that many?
So, so then what I would say is, Ashley, you know what? I hear that all the time. A lot of my hosts say that. I totally get it. How many people are on your list so far? If you flip that packet over that I gave you, I showed you at the party, you could start writing your names down. How many people do you have on that list so far?
Like 8.
About 8. Okay, well that's a good start. And you know what I find? I find that if I just brainstorm with my host for like 2 to 3 minutes, I can usually help them add quite a few names onto that list. So do you want to see if I can help you with that as well?
Sure.
Okay. So now I'm going to be out of host coaching mode. Did you guys notice that she didn't know what her goals were for her party. So I helped her come up with some goals for her party. Because a lot of our hosts say, I don't know what I want, but I always start with a rock because I think everybody should have one.
Yeah.
So I just said, how about a rock? Okay, I'll take a rock. No, I don't want a rock. So if your hosts don't know what they want, just start throwing some things out there. And I know that the rock with the stand's $169. So pick something that's about $30, and all of a sudden you've got about $200 worth of products, and now we're going to aim for a $1,000 show. I want every host aiming for a $1,000 show. Okay? And guess what my show average is? About $1,000.
Wow.
Because people are shooting for it. Before I helped my host set that as a goal, my show average was about $500 to $600. As soon as I started saying, do you want to shoot for 1,000 and letting them know what they needed to do, guess what? They started getting it. Started hitting it. It's good for them. It's good for me. Okay? And notice that I'm getting buy-in from Ashley. I'm not lecturing. We're having a conversation. I'm asking what she'd like. I'm asking, how does this sound? Do you want to go for a $1,000 party? I'm letting her know that getting 15 to 20 orders is usually going to require inviting 40 to 50 people. And then I'm asking her how she feels about that. Then I'm asking permission. Can we brainstorm together? Okay, so this is a conversation, and every step of the way, Ashley's got to say, yeah, okay, we can do that. And guess what? I've never had a host say to me, no, you cannot brainstorm with me. No, you can't do it. They all go, sure. You know, some of them think, she's not going to help me. This is everybody I know. But all of a sudden, 3 minutes later, they've got 15 more people added onto their list. Okay. Okay, so Ashley, you said you've got about 8 people on your list so far. How do you know those 8 people? Are they family, friend? How do you know them?
Family, neighbors, a couple close
family,
friends.
Neighbors, and who else?
A couple close friends.
Close friends. Okay. All right. So let me ask you something. When it comes to your family, did you invite all of your family or just the local female family members that you think would like to come to a Pampered Chef party?
You're good. Just the local.
Right. Okay. All right. So I'm going to be creating a link and sending it to you for your party. And anyone who clicks on that link and shops, it's counting toward your party, whether they live in your neighborhood or live in California or anywhere in between. So if you included all your family members, local and long distance, people who love to cook and people who hate to cook, people who might need something to help them get in and out of the kitchen in half the time, or those people who hate to cook, sometimes they're married to people who love to cook and they might need a Christmas present. If you invited all of your family members and didn't prejudge, how many more people would be on your list?
A lot more.
Give me a ballpark.
The rest of the family, so like 25, 30 people.
About 30 people. Great. Now we're up to 38. Boom. We're almost done here. Okay. So you said you invited a few neighbors.
Yep.
So did you invite all of your neighbors or just the female ones that you think would want to come to a Pampered Chef party?
I think just the ones I was comfortable with having in my home.
Yeah.
Not for that line. Yeah.
Right. So Ashley, I'm wondering, would you like to get to know some of your neighbors better that you might not know that well right now?
Yeah, that'd probably be good.
And, you know, I find that a lot of people say that. They want to get to know their neighbors, but it's like, how do you just walk up to someone you don't know who, you know, your lives don't really call you? You wave to them when you're walking your dog, but you don't really know them. How do you just like invite them to your house? It's kind of hard, right?
Yep.
But you can easily invite them to a Pampered Chef party. It's not like, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk to these people about sitting across the table with a cup of tea? No, you're inviting them in, and there's going to be a whole group of people there. I'm going to put a name tag on them because that's what I do at all my parties. So now if you're like, I don't even remember their name and I should know their name, don't worry, I'm going to find out their name. I'm going to give them a name tag. Everybody's going to gather around the island or the table where all the Pampered Chef products are, and everybody has food in common. So do you feel like, now in that packet that I gave you, there's some postcard invitations. Do you want to fill those out? And do you feel like you could put them in some of your neighbors' doors?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So how many more people would be added onto your list in that case?
Like 3.
3 more. Excellent. Okay. Now, you have some close friends. How about some acquaintances? Do you have some people that you haven't seen in a while that you'd love to reconnect with?
I do.
Yeah. And do you have some long distance friends that you didn't include because they don't live close that might
Right.
actually want to click a link? Yeah. So how many more people do you think that would add?
About 10.
About 10. Excellent. Ashley, do you work?
I do.
Yeah. You didn't mention inviting any coworkers. Do you have any coworkers?
Yes, I have a lot of coworkers.
How many coworkers do you have?
Oh gosh, I have a lot. At least 100.
A lot. More than 20?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
what do you do, Ashley?
I write their names down.
What's that?
What do I do at work? HR assistant.
HR assistant. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about taking a catalog to work? You can invite people to come to your party, and if they can't make it, they can flip through the catalog and just place an outside order.
Yep. I could do that.
Yeah. So if just 1 out of every 3 people that you talk to at work placed an order or came to your party, how many would that add on to your list? Potentially.
At least 20.
20.
Yep.
That's a far cry from 8, isn't it? This is awesome. You know what, Ashley? You could be looking at a $1,500 to a $2,000 party. Could you
Wow.
add more onto your list?
I could. Yes.
And you know what? I want to tell you something. It's happened before. It could happen again. You could get the knife block set for free
Wow.
if you wanted to. It's up to you and kind of how much you want to put it out there. They don't all have to come to your house. Just circulating that catalog. Do you have a spouse?
I do not.
You do not. Significant other?
Nope.
No? Okay. So no, you can't send
Yeah.
anybody to work with a catalog. Are there 2 people who love you dearly who would love for you to get that knife block set for free?
Yes.
Who are those 2 people?
My parents.
Your parents. Okay. So could you go to your parents and say, okay, Mom, Dad, I'm having a Pampered Chef party. They have this amazing knife block set. It's forged cutlery, full tang. I don't even know what it means, but it's full tang, and they tell me it's great. It's lifetime guaranteed, and I would love to get it for free. But I'm not quite sure I know enough people who would order so that I can get it for free. But if I gave you a catalog for a day or 2, do you think you could take it around with you, maybe take it to work to see if anybody you know needs anything from Pampered Chef? Could you say that to your mom and dad?
I could.
And do you think they'd take it to work for a day or 2?
I think they might.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So Ashley, we can go for the $1,000 party, but heck, we could go for a $1,500 or a $2,000 one. Couldn't hurt to try, right? Wouldn't that be fun? Could you imagine a $500 shopping spree from Pampered
Oh my
Chef?
gosh.
Wow. It's happened. It's happened, especially with people who work in large places like you do. So don't underestimate that. Circulate that catalog. There are Pampered Chef groupies, closet groupies out there everywhere. You never know who they are till you show up with a catalog and they light up like a light bulb. So yeah. Okay. So that's the kind of conversation that I try to have with my hosts to help them expand their list. Do you guys see what a difference that can make?
Yep.
Ashley, are you now thinking, I want to tell everyone I know about this? I want to invite the entire planet now because you just told me I could get a knife block set for free. Now, I might not have every host stretched for the $1,500 to $2,000 mark because a lot of people don't have a family that big or that many coworkers. But I can help almost anyone get to 40 to 50 on their list. We haven't even said, how many friends do you have on Facebook and how many contacts do you have in your phone? Okay? We haven't even gotten to the easy ones, but I don't go to the easy ones first. I go to the other stuff first. And then the backup plan is, oh, and by the way, we're going to set it up on Facebook and you're going to invite everybody you know and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So can you see what a difference this can make? And Ashley, are you going to feel excited about your party right now? Are you going to be like, oh my goodness, I
am, and it wasn't even mine.
You're like, wow, wow. So did you feel pressured at all?
No.
No. Because I'm working with you and I'm asking questions based on what you tell me. I'm giving ideas. If you had a spouse, I would say, can your spouse take it to work? Have you invited your spouse family members? If you had kids, I would ask you, how old are your kids? If your kids were young, I would say, do they go to daycare? Have you invited the other daycare parents? If you had school-age kids, I would say, do they go to any after-school activities? Oh yeah, they're in soccer. Have you invited the other soccer parents? Do you see any other parents at the school bus? Is there anybody that you could invite there? Do you have a favorite babysitter? Have you invited the babysitter or the babysitter's parents? Have you invited the parents of your kids' friends? Things like that. So it's really just brainstorming. I don't give every single idea to every single host. I just talk with them, I ask questions, and based on that, I make suggestions. And then I say, how does that sound? Does that sound like something you could do? And they usually are like, whoa, yeah. Oh, I never even thought of that. Now, Ashley, do you go to a gym? Where do you go throughout your week besides work?
The gym. How'd you know?
Gym. Okay, awesome. So you could take some invitations there, take some of the postcards there, and you can hand it to the people that you see at the gym as well, if you'd like to do that. You can tell them we're doing a healthy in a hurry theme. They'll all want to come.
Exactly.
So you're just brainstorming and giving suggestions. And if I feel like my suggestions are coming across as a homework assignment, I would say, you know what, Ashley, I just want to remind you that when I make suggestions, it's just that. They're just suggestions. They're not homework assignments. You don't have to do all these things. What I want you to do is pick and choose the ones that are going to be really easy for you. If you pick a few of these ideas and run with it, you're going to have a successful party. Okay? So now I'm going to go back to that screen share. Make sure I didn't forget anything, because here's my list. And I have this list in front of me when I'm working with my hosts. So like I said, here are some of the questions that I ask. Guys, if you send me your email address, I'll send you these slides. So if you want to have these questions and you can copy and paste them into a document, you can do that. And by the way, ask them if they have two people who love them dearly. Everyone has two people who love them dearly. And in my experience, when people do that and they have two people take the catalog to work for a day, each person on average collects them 3 orders. That's 6 extra orders on the party. If it's a $50 order, that's $300 in additional sales. This is why I have a $1,000 show average, okay? Mm-hmm. I had a host whose mother took it to her. She had $1,000 in outside orders before I ever walked through the door. She had almost a $3,000 party, because her mom and 2 sisters took the catalog to work plus the host. $1,000 in outside orders before I walked through the door. It's possible. No, they had hosted before and had an $800 party. Because of that idea I gave them, they had a $3,000 party. Who do you think they're going to book with next time? Probably me. I'm just guessing. They couldn't believe it. But I just gave them the ideas. They ran with it. Okay? All right, then, so I would say to Ashley after we brainstorm this list, okay, so if your party's coming up pretty quickly, you're going to want to start getting the word out. And of course, we can set it up on Facebook first. I'm going to give her the link and have her check it and make sure I spelled her name right and had her address right, and she can text that to people. It's an invite. And but of course, we can also invite them through Facebook. I tell her, call your mother. She might not use Facebook. And now I want to warn Ashley about what's going to happen when she starts getting the word out. Okay? So Ashley, after you start getting the word out, let me ask you something. Do you have a cell phone?
I do.
Yep. And when you get an average text or Facebook alert, where are you?
At work.
At work? Yep. Exactly. Right? You're not always at home paying full attention to your phone, right? You're often multitasking. You're at work or you're driving to and from work and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
Okay. So when we start getting the word out about your party, And people look at that, they're going to either see it through Facebook with the date and the time, or you're going to send them the link and they're going to see it with the date and the time. People could be anywhere. They could be in the grocery store, at the doctor's office, at work, driving in the car, and they're going to take a quick glance at it. Now, who do you think are going to be the ones that respond first?
The non-busy ones.
The not busy ones. Some of them. Your mother. Oh, look, Ashley's having a Pampered Chef party. I think I will call her and tell her I can come, right? Yeah, you'll hear from your mom. You're also going to hear from the people who know they can't come. They'll take a quick glance and go, oh, the 20th. Oh, that's my husband's birthday. And they'll just click and do a talk to text. Sorry, I can't make it. My husband's birthday. Click. Or they'll hit reply if they're at work or something. Can't come that night. It's my date night. Or can't come that night. I got this going on, or whatever. I have to work that night. Okay? So the people who look quickly and know for sure they can't come because that date sticks out in their mind, you're going to hear from them first. Okay? So once you get the word out, it's going to be like boom, 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 boom. No, 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 no. So I want you to hold up your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
When I start inviting to my party and I get a bunch of no's.
When I start inviting to my party and get a bunch of no's.
I will not cancel my party.
I will not cancel my party.
Because remember, we've got a list of, oh my gosh, like 70 people now. You don't want them to all say yes, do you?
No.
Yeah, right? So don't worry about it, okay? But remember, I said outside orders. Anybody who shops on that link counts toward your party. So celebrate the no's, because this is the start of your outside orders. Okay? So every time you hear a no, I just want you to say, oh, sorry you can't make it, but hey, did you want to check out the online catalog? Because here's a link. And if you shop with this link, it counts toward my party. You know, so do you feel like you could share that link with everybody who says no?
Yes.
Okay. And you're not going to cancel your party, right?
I promise.
Okay. So the other people are going to look, they're going to glance, and they're going to go, 20th. I have no idea what I'm doing on the 20th. I'll check later. Now, that could be like in the middle of their workday. Well, by the time they get through the rest of their workday and run some errands after work and get home and make dinner, they've received 97 other texts, Facebook alerts, phone calls, and you name it, and they have forgotten all about the fact that you invited them to a Pampered Chef party. And chances are they're not going to be like, wait a minute, where was that text from Ashley? Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Oh, here it is. No, it's going to be out of sight, out of mind. So for now, just respond to the people who respond to you. If they can come, great. Encourage them to bring a friend. If they can't come, that's going to be the bulk of the people you hear from at this point. You're just going to encourage them. You're just going to say, sorry, you can't make it, but hey, did you want to see a catalog? And you can hand them either the paper catalog that I gave to you or you send them the link. Okay. And the other thing, Ashley, is do you know that when you have a Pampered Chef party, you get a half-price item at every party that's booked from yours?
Really?
Yeah.
No.
So some of those people that you invite, they're going to seem like really, really, really disappointed that they can't make it to your party. They're going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry I can't make it to your party. I love Pampered Chef. I haven't been to a party in forever. Well, when you hear something like that, just say to them, oh my gosh, you should have a party of your own. Because if you did, I would come to it. You know, do you want me to have my Pampered Chef lady contact you? See if they want to have a party of their own. Okay? Then you give me their names. I'll follow up with them. And if they book, you're going to get a half-price item. And you know what? If you get a total of 3 bookings from your party, I'm going to give you $50 in free product at that third party. How would that sound?
Great.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty much what I cover in call number 1. It doesn't take that long because I've been in and out of training and show mode, okay? But it is about a 10 to 15 minute call. But almost everything else that I do with the host can be done via Facebook Messenger. Okay? But do you see what an impact host coaching can have on your shows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, before I hang up with Ashley, I should talk to her about the business. So usually when I hand the host packet to someone, I make mention of the fact that there's a little bit of information about the business. I say most people who become consultants were hosts first. And so when I handed you the host packet, Ashley, I kind of let you know about that. I said, oh, by the way, there's a little flyer in here about the business. Most people who become consultants were hosts first. And I asked you at the show, you know, is this something that intrigues you at all? And you said, no, not really. I've never really thought about something like this. And I said, well, you know, you might want to look through that because, you know, if you want, you can make your party a kickoff party. And we'll talk about that. So now here we are, and I say, so Ashley, I know when I met you at the party, you said you weren't really interested in the business itself. But, you know, gosh, with the number of people that you're inviting and the amount of sales that you can get, does this intrigue you at all? Because if you decided you want to become a consultant, we could actually get you signed up ahead of time, and this party could be your kickoff party. Is that something that intrigues you at all? Is that something you'd like to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, some more information on that would be good. Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right, so if she says, yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, if she has time now, we can talk about it now. If not, we can schedule another time to talk. But do you think that even though someone says no at a party, now that they've got this big wish list going and they've got this big invitation list going and they've heard about how big their party could be, do you think some of them changed their mind at this point?
Yeah.
And say, yeah, maybe we should talk about that. Some of them do. Most of them do not. Most of them say, nope, I don't think so. No, not for me. And that's okay. But it's a seed planted, and you want to make sure you plant that seed. Okay. So then the other things that we talk about before the show that I do via text is I just touch base with my host. How are things going so far? Are you hearing back from people? I'm posting on their Facebook event. I will sometimes give my hosts a few things to post. I'll say, here, once we decide on the recipe, I'll then like send it to my host and say, how about you copy and paste and say, here's what we're going to have. Doesn't this look delicious? Because you want some of the posts to come from the host because their friends know them, not me. Okay? So I'll give some things for my hosts to post. And last minute reminders are hugely, hugely, hugely important. Okay, 3 to 4 days before the party, most of our hosts have not heard back from more than maybe 20% of the people. Did you guys know that when you go into a Facebook event, you can click message guests and message them all at the same time? And it will go to each one individually, not as a group text? You can. It's a really cool thing. So I'll say to my host, okay, go in. Now we got to get our head count together. And I give them the words to say. I tell them, just send a message that says, hey, just trying to get my head count together for Friday. Do you think you'll be coming? And that's when they get all the RSVPs. And I say to them, celebrate the no's, respond the same way as before. Sorry you can't make it, but hey, did you want to see a catalog? If they're disappointed about missing the party, hey, do you want to have a party of your own? I'll have my Pampered Chef lady talk to you. Mm-hmm. And if they can come, great, see you there, bring a friend. Okay? But these kind of things are just little tips that you can text or message your host with. And when a host tells me the final head count, I will send her a couple recipes. You can message those, email those, text those. They pick one out, and you go through the ingredient list, you know, have them look over the ingredient list, ask them if they have any questions so they know what to have on hand. Okay, that can be all done via text. So really only one thorough conversation. Okay. Any questions so far? Because now we're getting to we're almost done. We got like 3 minutes left. Okay. All right. I know this is a lot all at once, but it is amazing stuff. And you guys can go back and, like I said, look through the slides for all the words to say. So one more screen share because I had to see your faces because that's the way I am. Now we get to the party. A great thing to do when you're setting up with the host is reminding her that she gets a half price item from everybody that's booked from hers. And ask what is the biggest ticket item that she wants to get at half off if one of her friends booked. If she says, I don't know, then lead the witness. How about cookware? How about this? How about that? Oh, okay. Because during the party, when you talk about hosting, what's in it for them, and then you can say, oh, and by the way, if you host, you're going to be helping Ashley, whom they all love because that's their host. You're going to be helping Ashley get an item of her choice at half off. And Ashley, what was it you saying you wanted? That you wanted that everyday pot, that cookware piece that's like $200. You'd love that at half off. So who wants to start their party with a $100 order from Ashley? All of a sudden, there are people like, oh, I want a book. I'm starting my party with a $100 order. How cool. Okay, so when you make it known what the host wants at half price, it will increase the odds that someone will book that night. All right. And then the host coaching continues after the party. Okay, we tell the host, here's where your sales are so far. I know you were expecting 14 people, only 11 came. Who were the 3 people who couldn't come? Write them down on the host packet, just somewhere in there. And then ask her, who else said that they were going to place orders that you haven't heard from? Write those names down. You know, was there anybody else that you didn't hear from? Write those names down. And then you say, okay, so if, you know, all of these people that you were expecting to come and all these people who said they were going to place outside orders, if you send them one more reminder, oh my gosh, look at where your sales could end up. If 6 more people order, that's probably another $250 to $300 worth of orders on your show. Okay? And then you say to her, all you have to do is text your friends and say, sorry you couldn't make it to the party tonight. I'm keeping it open until tomorrow. Here's the link if you want to place an order. And I always have the host put that link in there so her friends don't have to go, oh my God, where was that link? Was it on Facebook? Was it a text? Was it through Messenger? Where is it? Was it 2 weeks ago? I don't know. So I have the host send that link. I remind again about outside bookings. Was there anybody who seemed disappointed that you want me to touch base with? I tell her of her friends who have booked so far and who are kind of on the fence. And if she has friends that are on the fence, very often it's the host who says, oh, I'll get them to book. And they do. They talk to their friends, go for it. You should do it. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so much free stuff. Karyn will help you. She'll tell you what to do. You'll have a great party. And then you talk to the host again about the business. Okay, Ashley, I know you told me before the party that the business wasn't something you wanted to consider, but you just had a $1,000 party. If you had been the consultant tonight, you would have made over $200 in just a couple of hours. And 4 of your friends said that they wanted to have parties. 4. Are you sure you don't want to take these bookings and put your toe in the water and give this business a try? Or do you want me to keep this for myself? Do you think at this point some hosts changed their mind?
Yep.
Yes. In fact, this is when many of them changed their mind. But they have to have said no before they can change their mind to a yes. If this is the first time you're mentioning it, they're in such shell shock because it's not something that they even remotely thought about that very often they don't say yes at this point because they're just in too much shock to say yes. So you want to make sure you get the no out of the way. Okay, because then it's a seed planted. Then at this point, I know you said no before, so you're acknowledging what she said. You're not acting like you're not listening. I know you said no before, but I wouldn't feel like I'd be doing my job right if I didn't let you know. Here's how much you would have made, and here are the bookings you had. And yes, many of them will change their mind. Okay, and now just some Facebook tips over invite. Mary is a person on our team. She does almost all of her business through virtual parties. She says 250 is the magic number. She wants her Facebook hosts inviting 250 people. I started doing that because that's what Mary told me, and whoop, boy, did those the number attending and the number of orders go up. If you invite 250, the goal is 30 attending. Okay, so let your hosts know, those virtual party hosts, the goal is 30 attending. If 30 are attending, 10 to 12 will place orders. Facebook hosts, virtual hosts can get outside orders just like our regular hosts. They can take it to work. They can find 2 friends who love them dearly. All of those ideas. Just because a party isn't a live party in the home doesn't mean we don't coach that host. We definitely do. Really important also for our host to personally message those guests. I usually have the host inviting for a few days before the official party starts, and I have them personally messaging their guests that they invited. I also give my host little things to do each day, like greet the people who have accepted the invite. Hey, Sue, glad you could make it. You know, just like when they greet people who come to their live show. Have them tag people. Oh, I'm going to post a great recipe. Tag some people you think who might enjoy it. I'm going to be posting about the spiralizer. It's a really cool product. Your friends who are trying to eat healthy, tag them underneath it. Okay. And I tell them what I told you guys. I tell them about how they can go in and click on message guests and message all their friends all at once. And in the parentheses, it says seen versus not seen. That's when you go in there, people who've seen the invite will have a seen next to their name. Most of them don't have it next to the name. It means they missed the alert and they don't even know there's a party happening. So they definitely need a personal message. Another idea I share with my virtual party hosts is to take the event and post it on their wall, because it's easy to miss an event, invite, or alert. And to get some of their friends, see if they can find 5 friends to post their shopping link to their walls. How easy is that? Hey, my friend's having a Pampered Chef party. If anybody needs anything for the upcoming holidays, just click to shop and it'll be directly shipped to you. They have 5 people who post that on their walls for those outside orders. Okay. If you need other ideas, okay, promote the promotions, okay? They get a 60% off item just for breathing this month. Yell it from the rooftops, tell them they want to invite everybody to know to make sure they get at least 200 in sales. I do offer bring a friend, get a free gift. I don't get big gifts. Go to the dollar store, get kitchen-y things for $1. They bring a friend, they get a pick out of the basket, $1 a piece. Just recently, I had a host who was really excited about outside orders. I offered her an incentive for $250 and $500. Her party is a week away, and she already has $260 in outside orders. Okay, and she's earned a pizza cutter from me for $250 in outside orders. Okay, it does cost a little money, but she's got over $250 in outside orders, so it's paid for itself. Do not offer an incentive without talking to your director thoroughly about it ahead of time, so we can tell you how to enter it on the show so it costs you as little as possible. Or you could say $500 in orders and I'll give you an extra half price item of your choice. Again, don't do that unless you talk to your director ahead of time so you know exactly what it will cost you out of pocket. It's probably far less than you think. And because you guys are new, you can do 3-way host coaching calls. So if you've got a host coming up, you give that host a call and you say, well, you know, I'm new with Pampered Chef. And one of the things I'm learning is this thing called host coaching. And it's basically ideas we share with our host to help them have a successful party. So I need to line up a 3-way call with my trainer who's been doing this forever. She's going to coach you. She's going to give you tons of great ideas, and I'm going to take feverish notes so that I know what to share with my other upcoming hosts. Can we schedule a time? Okay? Give us the most difficult host you think. The one who's like, fine, I'll have a party for you to help you get started. Maybe they're the not most excited ones. Because some people are like, I love Pampered Chef, I'll have a party to help you get started. And some of them, like my sister, going, fine, I will have a party as long as you never ask me to do another thing for your business again. I'll do it. Okay, so give us the ones that might be not so enthusiastic, and hopefully we can win them over. And we are here to help you to do those 3-way calls with you if you'd like. All right. So this is one training. I know if you're like most people, it's a lot to absorb. Let it settle in. Jot down any questions you might have, and just know that you are not expected to memorize this. Okay. Just pick 2 or 3 key ideas that you thought, wow, that's a great idea. Jot those down and make sure to share it with your hosts that are coming up. Know that, like anything else, there's a learning curve, And after you do share those few ideas, you can go back through, look through the notes and add 2 or 3 more ideas to share with your hosts. And then you'll have a whole repertoire. And by the time you've been doing this a month or 2, all of a sudden you'll be doing this in your sleep. But just know that it takes a little time, and it's all good. Know that your hosts weren't on this call, so they don't know what you're supposed to share with them. Anything that you share with them, they're going to think is great. Okay, so yeah. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording. If this was successfully recorded, which it seems to be because it's still glowing, I will post it.